5 worst canned foods you should never touch and 5 you must eat daily if you're over 60. I'm a heart surgeon. I've seen husbands lose their wives, wives lose their husbands, children lose their parents, all because of what I'm about to tell you. And the most painful part? Most of them never knew. They thought they were eating safe food. They thought they were doing the right thing. But the truth is, the very canned foods they trusted were slowly poisoning them, one bite at a time. I've had to tell a son that his father's heart gave out, not because of age, but because his arteries were choked with salt and chemicals from healthy soups and stews. And then I go home, and what do I see on TV? Shiny commercials telling seniors like you to buy the same products that put my patients in the ground. Do you know what makes me sick? I've been offered money, sponsorships, PR deals from billion-dollar companies to call these foods senior-friendly. They wanted me to lie to you, to use my title, my white coat, my credibility to make you believe that canned meats and soups were good for your heart. But I couldn't do it, because I've seen too much. I've seen the tears when families realize their loved one is gone, and all of it could have been prevented. That's why I'm here. Because there are two paths. Some cans are damaging your health, stripping your strength, and cutting your life short. But others, if you choose them, can rebuild your muscles, protect your memory, and keep you independent longer. Today, I'll expose the 5 worst canned foods you must never touch after 60 and reveal the 5 best canned foods you must eat daily if you want to fight back. Ranked from number 5 down to number 1, each one will shock you more than the last. And when you see the number 3 worst canned food, the one sitting in millions of homes right now, you will never look at your pantry the same way again. But please, don't just take my word for it. Don't trust a single claim without seeing the proof yourself. Every study, every fact, every number I mention is linked in the description below. Read them, because the companies selling you these cans are betting you never will. They profit when you stay blind. And before we dive in, I want to ask you, where are you watching from today? Please tell us in the comments. We read and reply to every single one because your voice matters. Now, without any further ado, let's start with number 5 on our worst canned foods list. And it may look like fruit, but in reality, it's flooding your body with sugar and slowly stealing your health. Canned food number 5. Number 5, canned fruit in syrup. Canned fruit in syrup looks innocent. It's marketed as an easy way to get your fruit, and the labels show bright peaches, pears, and pineapples smiling back at you. But for seniors, this is one of the most deceptive foods in the entire grocery aisle. What looks like healthy fruit is actually swimming in sugar, so much that it can send your blood sugar soaring and quietly drain your energy. Just 1 cup of canned peaches in heavy syrup can pack over 30 g of sugar. That's equal to nearly 8 teaspoons of table sugar dumped into a single snack. The science is terrifying. A large study in JAMA Internal Medicine found that people who consumed more than 25% of their daily calories from added sugar had double the risk of dying from heart disease compared to those who kept sugar intake lower. And canned fruit in syrup is nothing but added sugar. For seniors who are already more prone to insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, every spoonful accelerates the decline. Meet Gloria, 72. She believed she was making the healthy choice by replacing cookies with canned peaches in syrup every evening. But within a year, she noticed her waistline expanding, her energy crashing after meals, and her doctor diagnosed her with prediabetes. Gloria was devastated. She thought fruit was supposed to save her. Only after switching to fresh berries and canned fruit packed in water did her blood sugar stabilize and her energy return. The fix is simple. If you buy canned fruit, only choose those labeled packed in water or 100% fruit choice, never syrup. Or better yet, choose fresh fruit when possible. A bowl of fresh blueberries or sliced apples gives you natural sweetness, fiber, and antioxidants without the sugar bomb that comes with syrup. And while canned fruit in syrup can ruin your blood sugar, the next canned food is even more dangerous. It's salty, greasy, and addictive, and it's directly linked to higher risks of heart disease and stroke. Number 4, canned food. Number 4, canned soups. Canned soups are one of the biggest traps in the grocery store. They're sold as warm, comforting, even healthy. Labels proudly say low fat, made with real vegetables, or heart healthy. But for seniors over 60, canned soups are one of the worst choices you can make. Why? Because most are packed with sodium, preservatives, and flavor enhancers like monosodium glutamate, MSG. One can of chicken noodle soup can have over 900 milligrams of sodium, which is almost half of your recommended daily limit in a single sitting. That's not food. That's a salt bomb. A clinical trial published in Hypertension found that lowering sodium intake reduced blood pressure by an average of 7 systolic points in older adults. That's enough to cut stroke risk by nearly 25%. But instead of lowering your sodium, canned soups push it sky high. And the result is dangerous: higher blood pressure, stiffer arteries, kidney strain, and swelling in the legs and ankles. Meet John, 68. He thought his daily lunch of canned chicken noodle soup was harmless, even smart. It was cheap, fast, and tasted fine. But slowly, he began feeling dizzy when standing up. His shoes fit tighter from swelling. And at his next checkup, his doctor told him his blood pressure had spiked into the danger zone. John didn't realize his light soup was flooding his body with salt. When he switched to homemade soups made with fresh vegetables, lean chicken, and herbs for flavor instead of salt, his blood pressure improved, the swelling went down, and his dizziness faded. The fix: ditch canned soups altogether, or at least switch to brands labeled low sodium, with less than 140 milligrams per serving. Even better, make large batches of homemade soup, freeze portions, and reheat them later. A simple pot of chicken, carrots, celery, and garlic can give you the same comfort without poisoning your heart and kidneys. But if you thought canned soup was dangerous, just wait for the next one. It's sold everywhere as a cheap, tasty source of protein, but it's loaded with fat, sodium, and chemicals that can literally shave years off your life. Canned food. Number 3, canned pasta, ravioli, spaghetti. Canned pasta looks harmless. It's quick, cheap, and marketed as a family-friendly meal. Spaghetti in tomato sauce, ravioli stuffed with meat, or macaroni and cheese that just needs heating. But for seniors over 60, canned pasta is one of the worst traps in the grocery aisle. It's a combination of everything your body doesn't need. Refined carbs, high sodium, added sugar, and low-quality oils. One can of ravioli can deliver over 1,200 milligrams of sodium, more than half your daily limit, plus more than 20 g of added sugar, all disguised in a tomato sauce that looks innocent. The science is brutal. A study in Circulation found that diets high in ultra-processed foods like canned pasta raised the risk of cardiovascular disease by 29%. Meet Harold, 70. He lived alone and leaned on canned spaghetti as an easy dinner a few nights a week. It was affordable, quick, and reminded him of simpler times. But within a year, Harold's blood pressure was out of control. His waistline expanded, and he often felt exhausted after meals. His doctor warned him that his blood sugar was edging toward diabetes. Shocked, Harold cut canned pasta out of his routine, swapped in whole grain pasta with homemade tomato sauce, and within months, his numbers improved. His energy returned, and he felt more in control of his health. Here's what's happening inside your body: the refined pasta spikes blood sugar quickly, giving you a rush of energy followed by a crash. The added sugars and oils in the sauce fuel inflammation, which attacks your heart and brain, and the sodium overload forces your heart and kidneys into overdrive, damaging them silently day after day. Seniors often think fatigue after a meal is just normal aging, but it's their body battling sugar crashes and salt overload. And while canned pasta is bad, the next one is even more shocking. It's marketed as high protein and long lasting, but it's so processed and chemical loaded that eating it regularly can leave you weaker, inflamed, and at higher risk of disease. Canned food. Number 2, canned meats, Spam, Vienna sausages, corned beef. Canned meats are sold as convenient, affordable protein. They've been around for decades, marketed to families as quick meals, and even exported worldwide as a safe food supply. Spam, Vienna sausages, corned beef. The names are familiar and nostalgic. But here's the brutal truth: for seniors over 60, canned meats are some of the most dangerous foods you can eat. They're packed with sodium, nitrates, and unhealthy fats that silently attack your heart, your kidneys, and even your brain. The numbers are shocking. One serving of Spam contains over 790 milligrams of sodium and nearly 17 grams of fat, much of it saturated. Vienna sausages pack more than 800 milligrams of sodium per tiny can, and corned beef often hits over 1,000 milligrams per serving. Meet Robert, 66. He loved Vienna sausages, keeping stacks of cans in his pantry for easy snacks. They reminded him of his childhood and gave him quick protein without much effort. But over time, Robert developed high blood pressure, constant bloating, and was eventually hospitalized after a mild heart attack. His doctor connected the dots. The canned meats he thought were harmless were flooding his body with salt, preservatives, and fat. After giving them up and switching to fresh, lean proteins, Robert noticed his swelling went down, his blood pressure improved, and his energy slowly returned. Here's what's happening inside your body: the sodium overload forces your heart to pump harder, raising blood pressure and damaging arteries. The nitrates used to preserve canned meats turn into nitrosamines in your body, compounds linked directly to cancer. The saturated fat fuels plaque buildup, narrowing arteries and starving your brain and muscles of oxygen. Seniors often mistake the early warning signs, like swollen ankles, frequent headaches, or chest tightness, as just aging. But these are actually signals that canned meats are slowly poisoning the body. But as dangerous as canned meats are, the next one is even worse. It's marketed as nourishing, even comforting, but new research shows it can overload your body with toxic levels of vitamins and metals, raising your risk of fractures, liver damage, and even early death. Canned food Number 1, canned chili/stews, processed meat mixes. Canned chili and stews look hearty, filling, and comforting. They're marketed as quick meals packed with beans, vegetables, and meat, all the things you'd expect to keep you strong. But for seniors, canned chili and stew are the most dangerous trap in the aisle. Why? Because they combine the worst of everything in one can: ultra-processed meats, excessive sodium, hidden sugar, unhealthy oils, and preservatives. A single can of chili can carry over 1,200 milligrams of sodium, 20 grams of fat, and often more than 10 grams of added sugar. That's not nutrition. It's a chemical cocktail. The science is damning. A study in the Lancet Public Health found that eating high levels of ultra-processed foods was linked to a 62% increased risk of early death. Another in Circulation showed that ultra-processed meat-based meals were tied to a 32% higher risk of heart disease. Seniors, whose arteries, kidneys, and immune systems are already more fragile, can chili and stew act like slow poison. Meet Margaret, 74. She loved canned beef stew, heating it up whenever she didn't feel like cooking. It felt hearty, like real home food. But within 2 years, she developed high blood pressure, nagging joint pain, and constant fatigue. Her doctor warned her that the combination of sodium, fat, and preservatives was damaging her heart and kidneys. Once she gave up canned stews and began making fresh batches at home with lean beef, beans, and vegetables, her blood pressure improved, her energy rose, and she even lost weight. The fix is clear. Avoid canned chili and stews entirely. If you crave chili, make it fresh using beans, tomatoes, spices, and lean meats or turkey. If you want stew, slow cook it at home with fresh vegetables and herbs. You'll get all the comfort, warmth, and flavor without the hidden toxins. And that's why canned chili and stew take the number 1 spot on this list. They aren't just unhealthy. They are a perfect storm of everything that accelerates aging and disease after 60. But here's the good news. Not all canned foods are dangerous. Some are so nutrient-dense they can actually reverse weakness, protect your heart, and rebuild your body from the inside out. And that's what we'll cover next, the 5 best canned foods seniors should eat daily. Canned food number 5, canned chickpeas, garbanzo beans. Chickpeas might look simple, but for seniors over 60, they're one of the most powerful canned foods you can add to your diet. These little legumes are loaded with plant-based protein, fiber, magnesium, and folate, nutrients that directly protect your heart, stabilize blood sugar, and keep your digestive system strong. Unlike canned meats or pastas, canned chickpeas give you clean energy without the overload of sodium, sugar, or unhealthy fats. Science makes the benefits undeniable. A study published in Nutrients found that older adults who consumed legumes like chickpeas at least 4 times a week had a 22% lower risk of heart disease. Meet Thomas, 69. He used to rely on white bread and canned ravioli for quick meals. His weight crept up, and his blood sugar edged into prediabetes. A friend suggested he try canned chickpeas instead, tossing them into salads and soups. Within months, Thomas noticed he wasn't as hungry between meals. His digestion improved, and at his next checkup, his blood sugar had dropped back into the healthy range. For him, canned chickpeas weren't just food. They were a lifeline. Here's what's happening inside your body: the protein and fiber in chickpeas slow digestion, preventing sugar spikes and giving you steady energy. The magnesium relaxes blood vessels, lowering blood pressure, while the folate supports brain health and reduces the risk of dementia. For seniors, these are critical benefits: steady energy, better circulation, and stronger memory. The key is choosing wisely. Always rinse canned chickpeas thoroughly to remove excess sodium from the canning liquid. Pair them with vegetables, olive oil, or lean protein for a balanced meal. You can mash them into hummus, roast them for a crunchy snack, or stir them into soups for extra heart protection. That's why canned chickpeas deserve a spot in the top 5. They're cheap, convenient, and surprisingly powerful for rebuilding your health after 60. But as good as chickpeas are, the next canned food goes even further. It doesn't just protect your heart, it actively rebuilds your muscles and shields your brain from decline. But before we continue, if you have been enjoying the video so far, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss more videos like this. Canned food number 4, canned salmon with bones. Canned salmon, especially when it includes the soft, edible bones, is one of the smartest canned foods a senior can eat daily. Unlike most canned meats, it's not drenched in sodium or preservatives. Instead, it's loaded with protein, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, and calcium from the tiny bones. These nutrients are exactly what the aging body is desperate for: stronger muscles, healthier joints, sharper memory, and bones that don't break easily. Science proves its impact. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that seniors who consumed fatty fish like salmon at least twice a week had a 30% lower risk of heart disease. Meet Carol, 73. She had already suffered one minor fracture in her wrist after a fall, and her doctor warned her that her bone density was dangerously low. She couldn't afford fancy supplements, so she started eating canned salmon with bones twice a week, mixing it into salads and patties. Within a year, her bone scans showed real improvement, and she felt stronger and steadier on her feet. For her, canned salmon wasn't just food. It was protection against losing her independence. The fix is simple. Choose canned salmon packed in water, not oil, and make sure it includes the soft bones. That's where much of the calcium hides. Mash it into salmon cakes, toss it into salads, or stir it into soups. It's inexpensive, convenient, and incredibly powerful for rebuilding your body from the inside out. That's why canned salmon with bones earns its place in the top 4. It doesn't just feed you, it strengthens your heart, protects your brain, and literally rebuilds your bones with every bite. But as impressive as salmon is, the next canned food might surprise you even more. It's humble, it's cheap, but it can protect your memory and keep your digestion strong well into your 70s and beyond. Canned food number 3. Number 3, canned sardines in water or olive oil. Canned sardines are one of the most underrated superfoods for seniors. They're small, inexpensive, and often overlooked, but they pack more nutrition per bite than almost any other canned food. Sardines are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, calcium, and protein, all the nutrients that fight weakness, protect your heart, and keep your brain sharp. Unlike larger fish, sardines are low on the food chain, meaning they carry far less mercury, making them one of the safest seafood choices for people over 60. Science is clear about their benefits. A study published in Nutrients found that seniors who consumed omega-3 rich fish, like sardines, regularly, had a 35% lower risk of cognitive decline. Meet Daniel, 71. He had always dismissed sardines as poor man's food and avoided them because of the smell. But after suffering from joint stiffness and low energy, he decided to give them a try. He started eating canned sardines twice a week, sometimes on toast, sometimes mixed into salads. Within months, Daniel noticed his knees felt less painful, his energy levels improved, and even his concentration sharpened. What he once saw as cheap food turned out to be one of the best decisions for his health. The fix is easy. Choose sardines packed in water if you're watching calories, or olive oil if you want extra healthy fats. Rinse them lightly to cut the sodium and add them to salads, sandwiches, or pasta dishes. They're portable, affordable, and provide nutrition most supplements can't match. That's why sardines deserve the number 3 spot on this list. They're proof that sometimes the smallest foods deliver the biggest benefits. But as powerful as sardines are, the next canned food is even more surprising. It's not fish and it's not meat. Yet, it helps control blood sugar, protect your heart, and keep your digestion moving strong after 60. Canned food number 2. Number 2, canned tomatoes. No salt added. Canned tomatoes may not look impressive on the shelf, but for seniors, they're one of the most powerful canned foods you can keep in your pantry. Tomatoes are loaded with lycopene, vitamin C, potassium, and antioxidants that protect your heart, strengthen your immune system, and even lower your risk of certain cancers. In fact, canned tomatoes often deliver more lycopene than fresh ones because the heating process during canning makes this antioxidant easier for your body to absorb. The science is eye-opening. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that people with higher lycopene levels had a 55% lower risk of stroke compared to those with the lowest levels. Another study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that diets rich in tomato-based products reduced LDL cholesterol levels by 10% and improved artery flexibility. For seniors, that means lower blood pressure, better circulation, and stronger protection against heart attacks. Meet Helen, 70. She loved pasta, but usually relied on jar sauces full of added sugar and sodium. Her doctor suggested she switch to no-salt added canned tomatoes and make her own sauce instead. Within a few months, Helen noticed her blood pressure was more stable, her energy improved, and even her skin looked healthier thanks to the antioxidants. What seemed like a small swap turned into a major upgrade for her health. The key is choosing wisely. Always pick no-salt added canned tomatoes to avoid hidden sodium. With those, you can control the seasoning yourself, keeping meals heart healthy. Use them in soups, stews, sauces, or even as a base for chili made with lean beans and vegetables. They're cheap, versatile, and powerful for protecting your health after 60. That's why canned tomatoes take the number 2 spot. They're proof that simple pantry staples can act like medicine when you choose the right version. But as impressive as tomatoes are, the number 1 canned food is in a league of its own. It's packed with protein, calcium, and omega-3s. And research shows it can literally add years of strength and independence to your life. Canned food number 1. Number 1, canned black beans, no salt added. Canned black beans might look humble, but they are hands down one of the best canned foods a senior can eat daily. They're packed with plant-based protein, fiber, potassium, magnesium, and antioxidants. Together, these nutrients protect your heart, regulate blood sugar, support digestion, and even lower your risk of early death. For seniors fighting muscle loss, high blood pressure, or diabetes, canned black beans can truly be a game changer. Meet Arthur, 75. He struggled with high blood pressure and constipation, which left him feeling tired and irritable most days. His daughter encouraged him to start eating canned black beans, rinsed and added to salads, soups, and rice dishes. Within weeks, Arthur noticed he felt lighter, his digestion was smoother, and at his next doctor's visit, his blood pressure was lower. What seemed like a small, pantry swap made a big difference in his quality of life. Here's what's happening inside your body. The fiber in black beans slows digestion, preventing sugar spikes and keeping your blood sugar steady. The potassium relaxes blood vessels, lowering blood pressure. Magnesium supports muscle and nerve function, while antioxidants protect against inflammation in the heart and brain. For seniors, this means less fatigue, better circulation, improved memory, and stronger muscles. The benefits go far beyond the dinner table. They protect your ability to live independently. The key is choosing wisely. Always buy no salt added canned black beans and rinse them before eating to remove any extra sodium. Combine them with whole grains like brown rice, vegetables, or lean meats for balanced meals that keep you energized and strong. They're inexpensive, versatile, and one of the most nutrient-dense foods you can keep in your pantry. That's why black beans earn the #1 spot. They're not flashy, but they deliver exactly what your body needs after 60. Strength, stability, and protection from disease. So, now you know the truth. The canned foods sitting on millions of pantry shelves. The ones marketed as comforting, convenient, and even healthy. They're often the very ones quietly destroying senior health. Canned fruits drowning in syrup, sodium-packed soups, sugar-loaded pasta, processed canned meats, and chili stuffed with chemicals don't just taste bad for your body. They raise blood pressure, fuel diabetes, weaken bones, and shorten lives. The food industry doesn't warn you because it's a trillion-dollar business built on exports and profit, not on your strength or independence. But here's the good news. Not every can is the enemy. Some are powerful allies. Chickpeas that stabilize blood sugar. Salmon with bones that rebuild strength. Sardines that sharpen memory. Tomatoes that protect your arteries. And black beans that keep your heart, muscles, and digestion strong. These aren't just cheap pantry staples. They're everyday weapons against weakness, frailty, and decline. The choice is in your hands. Every trip to the store, every can you open is either building you up or breaking you down. You don't need expensive supplements or complicated diets. Sometimes it's as simple as knowing which cans to avoid and which ones to embrace. Now, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching us from today? Drop it in the comments. We read and reply to every single one because your story matters. If this video opened your eyes, don't leave without hitting like. Share it with a friend who needs this warning and subscribe so you never miss the truth the food industry doesn't want you to hear. After 60, every choice counts. And the right choice could mean living not just longer, but stronger. If you have any questions or want to share your personal experience, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. We're always listening. Thanks for watching.